Welcome to the Breakout EDU virtual training. We are going to be talking about a few things here today, and let's go ahead and get started with it right away. And what we're going to be talking about is, in this training, we're going to be talking about the basics of what a breakout is. We're going to talk about connecting to a Google Classroom, how it's not a straight connection, but it is somewhat of a hybrid connection to Google Classroom. We're going to talk about searching breakouts and the difference between a digital and a kit breakout. We're going to be using mostly digital since kit require physical things for the kids to touch, and that's something that we don't want to do. We're going to be talking about how to assign a breakout and also creating a breakout where either you or your students can create a breakout. Again, I'm going to remind you that we are recording this and it does get posted on YouTube, so make sure you mute your mic so nobody hears something that they might not want to hear. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to talk about Breakout EDU. So here's the Breakout EDU website. It's just www.breakoutedu.com. Everyone in the district does have a subscription to this, and I've already entered your names, so it should be easy for you to jump on and have that premium access. So right over here, there is the login and register. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to bring us up to the login with Google sign. So as always, we want to log in with Google because your names and emails have already been entered. And if you do the lower part, it might ask you if you already have another account or whatnot. I'm not sure. So anyway, here we go. We're going to go right into it, and it brings us straight up to this scene. So what is a breakout? A breakout is designed for students to use clues, visual clues, or perhaps search for clues according to a topic and figure out how to unlock locks to eventually, quote unquote, break out of something. I actually have a quick little game to show you here, just to kind of give you an example of what it's. So I made a little simple one lock game. And so here's what a game might look like. So I brought a Herkimer Breakout EDU. And it says, want me to select my first lock to begin. This is only one block, so here it goes. It says, here we are at another virtual training. It's time to get started, so we have to solve the simple one lock Breakout EDU puzzle. If you're looking for some extra lives, enter the first part of this not so well kept secret code. And over here you can see I've got the picture of a Nintendo game called Contra and a Nintendo controller. And anyone that knows anything about Nintendo, it's kind of a little bit of a deep cut. What's something called the Konami code, and it was a well-known cheat code to give you 30 extra lives in Contra. And for anybody that knows what that was, it was up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, select, start, or just start, depending on if you wanted one or two players. So if we want to enter in the code, I come down here, and the code was up, up, down, down, left, right, and so there you go. I broke out, and that's a very simple example of what a breakout is. So that's what we're going to be having students work on. So if we go back to home, probably the most annoying part about breakout is that they open new tabs every time you click on something. And that can be a little annoying when you are navigating for the first time. So here we are. You'll notice there's digital and there's kit. The difference is the kit requires the actual physical hardware. Here at school, we have about 5 or 6 of these kits. They have number locks, letter locks, directional locks, color locks. And we don't want to necessarily be doing that right now because we can't be cleaning these locks after every time a single kid touches these locks, or otherwise we'd have to have every kid have gloves on. So the reason that we went with one of the subscription here is that we have access to all these digital kits. So if I click on digital, it's going to go ahead and give me all the different digital kits that are out there. A lot of themed ones. If we want to narrow our search a little more, I can click this little funnel here. We can select what grade we might want to use. We can take a look at what courses we might be teaching. If we want to do holiday and seasonal, we want to do language, we want to do social studies. I used to teach earth science, so I always like to look at earth science. I could select a grade as well, but let's just see what's out there for earth science. And here we go. We've got a 3, 2, 1 blast off. The topic is moon cycles. It's grades 2 through 5. Perfect habitat, kindergarten. Legends of the Missing Compass Rose 2 through 5. Alien Encounter Looking for Earth 2.0, grade 6 through 8. They give you little standards down here. And once you click on one, it will give you everything about the story. It'll give away the lock combinations for you. It'll give you the explanation of how those locks are found, and some reflection questions that you can have your students answer as well. I always suggest hit play the game, work through it, see what it's like, see if you like it, if you see if you can solve it. You know, if you're having trouble solving it, your students might have trouble solving it. And usually when you play these games, it will give you a timer somewhere on here as to how long the game will last. So usually that timer's up here. It looks like this is an untimed game. Sometimes up here they'll give you a timer, but know in the background it does time the students how long it takes you to figure out something, figure out the entire puzzle. So let's take a look at how to import your Google Classrooms. So if we go to Google and sign in here, we can go to my account and go to my create a class. Actually, we want to go to classes here. Sorry about that. So we want to go to classes. We can actually, if we go to create a class, we can create our name here, and there's actually some sign up instructions that Breakout will give you. And basically right here, it gives you the steps for students to sign up with their Google Class. So it's not exactly integrated directly with Google Classroom. It'll actually give you a code which is different than your Google Classroom code. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that you have to kind of create your classes kind of at the own. I definitely brought in my Google Classrooms. Let's see here. Computer science. Now, if I can't remember now, somewhere here, I think I brought in my class from Google. And now I cannot remember how I did that. Was it at my account? I did not. My classes. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I remember we did that. Okay, so under my account, if I click on my account, it brings me to this screen. And then over here is my classes. You can synchronize Classroom, and that'll ask you to synchronize from Google Classroom. Same thing though, the kids will not be added directly from Google Classroom. They have to still enter in their code. So what I did was I gave them their, I still had to give them this classroom code for them to sign up. So it'll bring over your names of your rosters, but it will not bring over your students' names. The students' names won't be in until you give them this code. So what I did was I downloaded these student instructions and I put them into a Google Classroom for the kids to see. I can show you exactly what that looks like on my Google Classroom. If I give me a second just to pop it up here. So if I go to my STEM 6 class, for example, I actually just assigned this to them beginning of last week. So if we go in here, breakout rooms, here was my instructions. I actually copied and pasted these instructions from the Breakout EDU and then changed this code to whatever the code was supposed to be for that class. So that's an important distinction. It's kind of like a hybrid. It'll bring in the classes, but it won't bring in the rosters. You need to tell the kids how to get to Breakout EDU and what code to enter in. And again, this code comes from right here. So there was that STEM 6 class I talked about. That was the code that I pasted right in there so they knew which classroom to join in. It's a little annoying, but it's worth it, trust me. All right, so now once we have that, we can go and we can find some games for these kids to play. sticking to digital, if I was looking for Halloween and I wanted digital, I can click on that and it'll bring up a bunch of different ones. So we've got Boo the Cat for early elementary, Delete Halloween, Holiday Halloween, grades 1 through 3. We've got Haunted Park for high school. That one's really tough. 2 through 8. So some really nice stuff out here for you to find. Once you find something that you want to assign to the kids, you can hit this assign button right here. And then you can pick which class you want to assign it to. So let's say I want to attend to my sample class. I can hit assign. And there you go. It says assign game successfully assigned to the class. Now, in my Mr. Matthews sample class that I just put up here, there's no student rosters here because that's just a sample class for me to play around with. As the students sign up and enter that code, their names will be populated here. I can show you that if I go to my STEM 7. Here's some of the kids that have signed up. So I know that I've got a bunch more kids that are not in my STEM 7 class. But if I go to my STEM 6, all those kids should be in because they've had their kids or they've had their teachers help them sign up. So there's my roster. There's the kids playing. You'll notice over here it says games awaiting review. This is how many games the students have made. So students themselves can make games. We'll show you how to make games a little bit later on. But students can actually assign or create games themselves, which makes this a great tool for having them show mastery of a topic. For them to, at the end of a topic, create their own game, share their games with each other, and go on about that way. If we want to find any sort of game, that's where you're going to go. Remember, the filter tool here is really powerful because you can break it up by what the course topic is, how old the kids are. I wouldn't be afraid of not choosing the age because you'll find that while some person might think it's a 4th grade material, it might actually be a little more challenging for a 5th or 6th grade. Don't worry about the age restriction. I'd be really more focused on this and making sure that's digital because we want to use the digital stuff, especially if we have to go on another break or something like that. We want to make sure that everybody's able to access this stuff. You will notice that if you look through here, there are actually some games that are designed with multiple parts. And that means that more than one game has to be playing at the same time. So kids would have to share clues across the room, or if they're on a Google Meet, there are actually some instructions out here on how to host a Google Meet breakout room where the teacher runs the breakout room while the kids are looking through the puzzles. The teacher enters in the codes to see if everybody's right. There's actually a great here in the resource pack. They talk about all this different stuff on that. Facilitation tools, designing a game, frequently asked questions, if you need it for training, how to become a trainer, all that interesting stuff. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of let's actually create or start to create a game. How does that look? And they actually walk you through the process. It's pretty simple to walk you through the process. And if we go to My Digital Games, again, here's the single lock game I created. We're going to just simply go to Create New. And I created a simple single lock game for this first tutorial. You can do what's called a non-sequential game. So puzzles can be solved in any order. This is really great if you have some harder puzzles or easier puzzles, so on and so forth. There's also a sequential game. One puzzle leads to another. This is great for anybody that wants to do it in a storytelling manner. I saw a Breakout EDU that went along with the story of The Night Before Christmas. It was really great, took certain passages from the book. You couldn't get to the next passage of the book until you answered a question about the first passage of the book. So it really kind of depends on how, do you want them to go in any order? Do you want them to specifically go in one order or another? Let's just pick a single lock game just to show you a real simple version of it. We can pick a title, and let's just call this training. Whoops. Let's call this training. We're going to submit that. And then we have the title of the lock. We can put in some more information if we want to. A game to show how to make a game. Very meta. We can pick our lock type. There's text locks, number locks, directional locks, shape locks, or color locks. Obviously, text locks have something to do with a word or a clue. I've seen Morse code used for this. Number locks, they're going to have to do something with numbers, follow a sequence, do some simple math, do some not-so-simple math. Direction, up, down, left, or right. Maybe they have to follow directions, follow a map. Shape locks, I've seen everything from pick shapes out of a picture, pick shapes out of a sequence. I've seen shapes that resemble the shape of buildings, and then colors. Colors picked from a photo, colors picked from words, or colors picked from orders of things, so on and so forth. There's a little lock set up to the story. What's going on? You might want to give them clues in here. You can be more specific. I've seen clues from the locks set up and clues from the picture being put together to create the actual answer. And then how do you want to do your lock clue? Is it going to be an image? Is it going to be a text? Are you going to embed a video? The video typically comes from either YouTube or Vimeo and can be replayed. That's very popular. You do need an embedded code video, though. That's a little more difficult to explain how to get that. So if you're ever interested in how to get the embedded code, I will gladly show you how to do that. It's very simple. You would just have to upload it to another source, like I said, YouTube or Vimeo, and then we paste in the code from the HTML there. And then you select the answers. So whatever the answer might be, your answer could be a simple word like code. Now you'll notice there's some more here. We've got backgrounds for our breakout. We've got the end. You can either have the breakout congratulations message, an image that you upload, a text, or again, you can do another video. You can add your timer, how long you want them to answer it. And that's it, really. You can really just have fun with it and start out by playing some of the ones that are on there. Have students play some of the ones that are on there. Try making a simple game for yourself and your students. And then when you're ready to move on to the next level, have your students create them and see what they come up with. Because we don't really care so much about them playing these games. It's really, we want to get them to a level where they're actually making the games, because that's where they're going to learn the most. If you have any questions about creating Breakout EDU or using Breakout EDU, feel free to reach out to us. But thank you for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day.